This video will cover the RSS settings inside WishList Member. This is another one of those options that you probably really don't need to touch, but it's here if you do need to mess with it. So the first one is the RSS key. So as the tooltip says here, this key will be used to generate a unique RSS feed URL for each member. So what that means is each member that joins your membership site, that will use this key to give them their own unique RSS feed URL with the content that they have access to. So that'll include what levels they belong to, any pay-per posts, etc. So it's specific for each member. And if you use the WishList Member login widget, then when you place that in your sidebar and a member is logged in, they will see their unique RSS feed URL there. Now there's an option for you to turn that off if you don't want to show it and so forth, but that's where they'll see it. And so what that allows them to do is it allows them to take that RSS feed URL that's unique to them and put it into an RSS reader. And now they can get a unique feed of the content they have access to from your membership site in their RSS reader. And you're not opening yourself up to being hacked or anything like that, because that feed URL is unique to them. Okay, so this is the key that we use to generate all of that. So you can edit it if you'd like to change it for some reason, but there's probably not a big reason to. And if you do change it, the thing to realize is when you change this, it's going to unauthenticate all of the feed URLs that anybody had before. Everybody's feed URL will change. So if you've had a bunch of people that have put it into their RSS reader and you change this, it's going to invalidate that. That's no longer going to work. They're going to have to recopy the new URL and put that into the feed reader. So that's what this is. And then this option down here says disable RSS enclosures for non-authenticated feed. So RSS enclosures can be things, most of the time I would say this is related to podcasts. So it can be the actual audio file for the podcast. It can be images and videos and so forth, but probably audio file is the most common one you'll see. So if you have a membership site where you're providing a membership only, a private podcast just for members, or maybe that's what the actual membership is access to a premium podcast, then you can disable RSS enclosures for non-authenticated feeds. So your regular sort of public feed, you can disable the RSS enclosures. This is on by default. Because most of the time, if you're using this sort of setup, then you're going to want that, because if you don't do that, then anybody that gets access to your regular feed would get the enclosures, and so they'd be able to sort of access the content. Now, authenticated feeds are still going to get the RSS enclosures, so they're still going to be able to download the file, and they can put the URL in their podcast app, and they'll still be able to listen to it and so forth. The only time you'd really want to turn this off is if you have a public podcast on the same WordPress install as you would have your membership site. And so you want the podcast and the enclosures to go out to everybody, because that's not a part of your premium membership, but you still have WishList Member installed and you're using it to create a membership on different parts of the site. Then you would probably want to turn this off so that that public feed doesn't get tweaked to remove those RSS enclosures. So only a couple options here, but depending on what you're doing, there's a few things for you to think through and sort of set up.